Hi everybody, Dr. Hooten here at Hooten Family Healing Center in Dallas, Texas. What is cancer? And what can you do about it? What should you be doing about it? It goes without saying that most of us have had someone or some bodies in our lives affected by this disease. And if you go back through the history of this country treating cancer and the war on cancer and everything that's been done for the last 50, 60 years, we're not winning this through our medical system. There's a great documentary about this called Cut, Poison, and Burn. There's another book, if you're a reader, you can get this on the audiobook also called The Truth About Cancer, and they take deep dives into some of the statistics. So I'm going to summarize what cancer is, and then obviously what to do about it in this brief video. You may have to come back and watch, you may have to take notes, but I promise you, if you follow these rules, you're going to radically diminish your chances of getting this disease at all, and certainly help you survive it if you ever get diagnosed with it. Number one, what is cancer? Well, the short version is that cancer cells are a product of the environment that you have created. Let me say that again. Cancer cells happen because of the environment within your body that you have created. Cancer is not genetic like the system wants us to believe. How many of you answered that question before? Does anybody in your family have prostate cancer, colon cancer, breast cancer, you name it? Well, if that were the case, that cancer was genetic, look at sets of twins where one had cancer and one didn't. If cancer was really genetic, wouldn't both twins get this cancer? And there's many, many examples of twins where that's actually happened. Then you can also look at families where the parents both had cancer and then the children did not. That's a very brief description of the flaw in the genetic theory. It actually comes down to your environment, and the first studies of this were done back in 1931. A fellow won a Nobel Prize for showing the world how cancer develops. And if you read through his stuff, Otto Warburg, and you start extrapolating how that happens, and you can start to piece it together. Well, yeah, this is a product of the environment that we're creating. And one common sense way to look at it is if you had two people, let's say you had, two brothers, and one of them lived a clean lifestyle. They got adjusted regularly, they ate clean food, they avoided medications like over-the-counter Tylenol, or they didn't do any of the vaccines or anything like that. But then the other brother fully ate a bunch of crap, fast food all the time, vaccinated, didn't get adjusted. Which of those two brothers is more likely to get cancer? Obviously the one with a bad lifestyle. So we know that a bad lifestyle will lead us to disease. So I'm going to attempt to explain how cancer develops in that environment, and then obviously what to do about it. The origins of a cancer cell come down to how much oxygen is getting into each cell. So if you're creating an environment that's toxic and sludgy on your inside and oxygen can't really get to the cells, that is how cancer cells begin. Well, then of course you start asking about, well, how does it happen in a baby? Well, unfortunately, that may come down to the mother. That while the baby was in the womb, maybe something was happening in the mom. Maybe you don't even know what it was, but something has happened to create this environment where oxygen isn't getting into the cells like it's supposed to. And as time goes by with this environment, those cells become what we call cancerous. So that's a real brief explanation. If you want to take a deeper dive into how oxygen deprivation causes cancer cells, I've got plenty of videos that I've done in the past. A couple of them got dumped by YouTube. I couldn't believe it. I went looking for them and they were just vanished. But there are some back there if you want to go watch those for a longer explanation of the oxygen deprivation and how it causes cancer. So it comes down to your environment. So then you ask the question, how do we make sure oxygen is getting into our cells at 100% all the time, right? I want my body to be a cancer killer all the time. Well, first and foremost, you have to get your mind right. You have to take responsibility for this. If I started bleeding when I went to the bathroom, indicating that I had some type of cancer in my colon, well, I'm not going to sit there and say, woe is me, it must be in my genetics, thanks a lot, mom and dad. I'm not going to be thinking that way at all. I'm going to be thinking, what have I done to create this environment that I now have colon cancer? That's the first thing in my head. So your mindset is everything. You got to take responsibility for this. If you give the responsibility for treating cancer over to the establishment, you're just going to get a whole bunch of chemo and radiation and surgeries. Those things, they only make your environment worse. So you can say, well, Dr. Hooten, chemotherapy saved my mom's life, or surgery. I said, that's not even up for debate. If you go through the system and you survive, thanks God. What I'm saying is that those things, the chemo, radiation, and surgery, do not fix what got you there in the first place. Those chemo, radiation, and surgery does not fix what got the body into a cancerous state in the first place. In the case of all three of those, really, it makes a worse environment. Chemo is a poison, radiation is burning. And if you've been around enough people with cancer, like I have, you start to see this pattern where people don't even survive the chemo and radiation. And then the system blames the cancer when really they didn't survive the treatment. Just take responsibility that you've done something to create this environment. Then you got to start changing your environment. So that's number one, get your mindset right. Number two, and I've seen this firsthand here in the office, get adjusted regularly by a chiropractor who specializes in corrective techniques. Corrective meaning we're proactive in our approach. We're not waiting for your back to hurt or something. We're going to get your spine flowing, because after all, your brain and your spinal cord are in charge of everything. Your brain, through the nervous system, through all the nerves that go out into your body, will recognize when a tumor or a clump of cancer cells is starting to grow. Your brain recognizes that through your nervous system. So you want that whole thing communicating, so your brain knows there's a problem. Then what to do about it? Well, your brain knows we got to send our immune system there. We got to send white blood cells and everything else to get there and clean out that cancer. And that happens, by the way, every day in every one of us. We all have cancer cells in us, because you cannot live a perfect environment, a perfect lifestyle on the inside. We can try, but here in Dallas, we're a concrete city. There's air pollution, there's all kinds of stuff everywhere. That stuff gets in us. It's going to cause some cancer cells. Well, your brain, through your spinal cord and central nervous system, organizes your immune system to get rid of those cancer cells every day. So I want my spine flowing. I want my brain and my spinal cord and nerves cooking at 100%, so it's always getting rid of these bad cells. Okay, so getting adjusted regularly, meaning at least weekly, on the outside maybe every other week. Some of you have just started care. If you're in our office and you're on this aggressive schedule 3 times a week, that's to open the floodgates of your nervous system. So you start banging on all cylinders, that you're cooking at 100%, and you're fighting off all kinds of disease, not just cancer. So get your spine working, and then closely related is nutrition. You are going to build your body out of what you put in it. If you eat a lot of Taco Bell, a lot of Chick-fil-A, a lot of Burger King, and whatever else is out there, you're going to be building a fast food body. This is a catastrophe waiting to happen. It is just a matter of time before something bad happens to you. So you want to cut all that garbage. If you know it's garbage, cut that out. Just get away. Now you have to find a substitute. And we have a list of clean restaurants locally here around North Dallas. But you have to do some research here and find some clean food. Wild caught fish, like 100% wild salmon, free roaming chickens, free roaming chicken eggs, things that were never supplemented with hormones or some kind of artificial feed. Like one of the worst things to eat is a farm raised fish. I mean, they're putting God knows what to fatten these fish up overnight, seemingly. Well, that is a bad thing. You want it as wild, as close to nature as you can get it. So if it doesn't come really close from nature, then it's probably creating a bad environment in your body, and you know where that leads to. So really start diving into your nutrition and clean that up. If you need any help at all, please reach out to us when you're in here. Say, Dr. Brown, I don't know what to eat for breakfast. Like cereal and pasteurized milk, that's disease. That's like instant disease. And here we are, we started Halloween, all this candy coming in. Well, then we're going to go into Thanksgiving. And how many of you eat like 17 meals on Thursday, Thanksgiving? And then we go into Christmas, then you go into New Year's, then we go into Valentine's Day. It's this never-ending cycle. And look around, this country is sick. We spend more on cancer treatments in this country than most other countries have as a GDP. It is insane how much money is being poured into the disease management system in this country. Okay, so clean up your diet. So number 1 is mindset. Number 2, get your spine flowing. Number 3, nutrition. Number 4, maximize your oxygen intake, aka get some exercise and sleep. Make sure you're getting to sleep. If you live in the northern hemisphere, the most optimal time to be asleep, into that deep sleep where everything is recovering and you're sucking in that oxygen, is between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. Of course, try to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep if you can, but between 10 and 2 is the most optimal time. So in our house, we try to get down by 9, and most of the time we make it till 5 or 6 o'clock if the dogs don't wake us up. But maximize your sleep. For exercise, if you don't find 15 minutes to get some movement, and I mean high intensity movement, if you don't find 15 minutes to get some movement into your day, you need to rearrange your priorities. Just walking fast, like where you're getting out of breath, you're exhausting your muscles, that's better than nothing, let alone doing some HIIT interval training in a gym, push-ups, squats. I mean, you could literally just do push-up, squats, and tricep dips for 15 minutes, exhaust your muscles, and suck in all this oxygen. That will help elevate the oxygen levels in your body and decrease the amount of cancer cells that your body is producing. So get some exercise and some sleep. And number 5 is a little sneakier. It's toxicity. Now, some foods have toxins in them, preservatives, or just one thing off the top of my head, or 2 things. Propylene glycol is in a whole bunch of different food products, as well as sodium benzoate. And if you look that up, it breaks down into benzene in your body. That has a specific cancer rating. So you want to clean up the food for that reason also, but look at your personal care products and your cleaning products in your house. All those things add up. And ladies, I'm sorry to tell you, but a lot of these makeups have a bunch of garbage in it. You put it on your skin and it goes into your system, and that's creating a clogged up system, decreasing your oxygen levels in your cells, and there you have it. Perfumes, colognes, deodorants, anything with the fragrance, shampoos with the fragrance, all that stuff, there are organic, clean products that you can replace those with today. Just got to do a little searching and you can find it. We have like deodorants and soaps here in the office that are awesome, and we use those in our house. Toothpaste, you want to clean that up, like fluoride is a disaster. Fluoride or normal toothpaste have several things in it that you do not want in your mouth, let alone anywhere near your body. So start cleaning up your home environment. For cleaners, like we use vinegar and water with some essential oils in it. So everything we use in the office is vinegar based. Same at our house. You can use orange oils, that kind of thing, that doesn't have all these commercial ingredients in it. So there you have it. So cancer is a development of cells based on the level of oxygen that's getting into our body and into our cells. So your body's going to adapt to that environment that's known. The people that live on our side of the world, they know this. We talk about it all the time. The people in the cancer industry, they don't want to talk about it, but if you start asking them, how does cancer develop? They don't have any idea. They start blaming it on bad luck and bad genes, but we know better than that. I have a much stronger God and a much bigger faith in the human body than those people that live in that world. So get out of that mindset. So get your head right, saying, hey, this is my responsibility. If you have it, I'm sorry. It's not that I want to depress you or anything, but you have to take responsibility and say, hey, I must have done something to create this. And you may not know what it is, right? That's a fair assumption. What was it? Well, if you cover all those 5 bases and you're still in a pickle, you may not. Okay, all I'm saying is just take responsibility, do everything you can to clean up your body. So then that's what cancer is. It's your environment, it's your mindset, spine, food, get some exercise and sleep, and then decrease the toxic load around your house and watch your body get stronger. This is Dr. Hooten signing off. Remember, drugs are bad, God is great, and so are you.